And he was screaming at me that he hated me, that it was over, he didn't want to marry me. He was disgusted. He was disgusted. He made this mistake. It was a big mistake. And everyone hated me.
The Amber Heard Johnny Depp drama is far from over. This time, Amber has been betrayed by her biggest ally, none other than the Washington Post. The whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp drama started with an op-ed published in the Washington Post. It was clear that the Washington Post was backing up Amber's side of the story, and for the longest time, it was her biggest ally. But things have now taken a turn. The Washington Post has jumped ship and stranded Amber Heard. Not just that, it has even published a news article calling her the most hated person in the world. Yeah, you heard that right. If it wasn't obvious enough that the Washington Post had betrayed her, they even decided to rub some salt on her wounds. Right after they called her the most hated person in the world, they mentioned that Johnny Depp was right there at the top 10 of the most liked men in the world. The article wasn't about Amber Heard or Johnny Depp. It was about Q-score in general. That too is pretty suspicious that Washington Post would publish an article about Q-scores when they're hardly considered anymore. Many years back, judging celebrities on their Q-scores was a common practice, but that's no longer the case. Still, the Washington Post felt the need to point out just how bad Amber's public perception is. The Q-score isn't a public poll. It is in fact a scientific evidence. The Washington Post writes, your Q had to do with your visibility, your likability, and your invitability into people's homes. Your Q is your hangability, if you will.
It's big time, too, to the point that this trends on social media. It ends up getting shared over 18,000 times.
They are really driving home the point that Amber Heard is a lost cause because of her public image. And of course, the article gets shared and read all over the world. Amber knows this means she'll lose her appeal. If the Washington Post abandons her, she will be completely alone. Her friend, he wrote, whenever I am trending or on the receiving end of a large-scale public attack, Amber says to me, if you're not pissing people off, what are you doing with your life? It's a badge of honor. People have also noticed this sudden change in the Washington Post stance. One Twitter user wrote, the Washington Post released a very negative article about Amber Heard saying she's the most hated woman in America. I think the Washington Post is trying to make up how they did JD dirty with false info about him, perhaps if not they should. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.